WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, let's do it, Jarom, Tanner, and Nolly.
It's another edition of the WCB Podcast, part of the Hockey Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. It is Jarom, it is Tanner, it is Nolly. What is up, guys?
We're on the West Coast today.
Hey,
Doing good.
Pacific.
We're just getting so close. We're almost in September. We're so close.
Days and
Preseason.
days away, and more hype up videos of Bedard. Closer.
Yeah. More ice time. More. I'm
Just the
getting
fact.
so hard.
More of him watching him, McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl all just skate together in the BioSteel camp. I love it.
I wish they made
Yeah.
a bigger deal about the BioSteel camp than they do. I kind of forgot it was going on.
I mean, does BioSteel, I'm sure they have a sponsorship with the NHL, right? Or maybe they got
because Gatorade dropped NHL, so BioSteel came in and took over from them.
Good.
So we are.
I've never even tried BioSteel. I didn't even know it was a drink for the longest time.
It's not bad. It's zero sugar, but it also tastes like the sugariest drink I've ever had.
Oh, is it like fake sugar?
Super
Yeah.
artificially.
Yeah,
Like a lot of that shit causes cancer. So way to go.
I'm already fucked medically, so it doesn't really matter. So
And we're all gonna die someday anyway. So let's just have fun watching hockey while we're at it.
hell yeah,
Drinking some BioSteel.
Drinking
BioSteel.
some BioSteel.
But as Nolly said, we are on the West Coast. We are doing the Pacific division today. Before we get into that, we have a little bit of Hawk talk. Tanner wanted to talk about this. The Chicago Blackhawk name game that's going on between the players.
It is without a doubt like something that I thought like started kind of funny, and then I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. If you follow the Hawks social media accounts at all, their main one, like you'll notice over the summer, not tons of news. So it's just like, oh, like players getting married, or just like players like whatever, having children, stuff like that. Like it's always just like, oh, it's their birthday, like happy birthday to like this player, whatever. Just like all the feel good stories. And it started out with like engagement announcements or like marriage announcements, and like flipping through like, oh, like they got married, cool. And then it's like, oh, Taylor Radish got married or is engaged to his wife or wife to be Taylor. Okay, cool. So like that's really funny. Like Taylor's marrying Taylor. It's gonna be Taylor Radish times 2. Like, well, that's cool. And then it's it's Reese Johnson got engaged. Who's he engaged to? Oh, Tyler. His fiance's name is Tyler. So Reese Johnson is marrying Tyler Johnson. And I'm just like, okay, like this is a little weird. It's getting a little weird. And then recently it's National Dog Day. And who knows? Like, it's flipping through, cool. Tyler Johnson and his girlfriend or wife, they have 2 dogs. Guess what? One of them's named Reese. What the fuck? What the actual fuck is going on? We got Taylor and Taylor Radish. We got Reese Johnson marrying Tyler Johnson, but also Tyler Johnson has Reese Johnson as a dog. Like, it's fucking weird, man. It's just like, what is happening? Like, I swear to God, like something else is going to come out this month. Like somebody else is going to be engaged. Like Seth Jones is going to be marrying a girl named Connor. Like it's like, so it's going to be so weird, man. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. There's gonna be like everybody's gonna get a dog this season. All name him Connor. Just cut. Why not? Just be Connor now.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, when I saw Taylor, I was like, oh, that's funny. And then you put the other thing in our group text, and I was like, whoa, wait.
Yeah.
You guys see the Taylor thing too? I was like,
the Tyler and Reese stuff is just absolutely hilarious.
I didn't even catch that part. So funny.
I can't
they
believe
got Taylor
it.
Hall too.
Yeah.
The fold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nothing with him yet, but we'll see what happens. It's just the fact that like if we still had Jack Johnson on the team, I'd watch him have like 2 kids named Tyler and Reese. And
Yeah. Tyler's other dog's name is Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Like something like that. You're just like, it's so weird. But yeah, I just think it's so funny. Just like out of all the names in the entire world, like these guys this is just how this worked out for them. Like,
and
nobody said hockey players are creative. I mean,
so funny. You just got to imagine that dog Reese Johnson is probably just real scrappy as fuck too.
just standing in front of the net all day. Yeah, I mean, that's just great team chemistry. Honestly.
That is
bonding with the fellas.
The only other thing I have for Hot Sock, we already kind of talked about BioSteel camp going on, but pictures are being posted from Bedard. He's working out with McDavid. Dude, the kid is yoked. This kid is fucking huge.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's what happens when you're small. You gotta fucking build some muscle on you. And he's not like Kaner. When Kaner came in, everybody was like, oh, he's gonna have to put on a couple pounds just to, so he doesn't get tossed around. The kid's got it already. I mean, that's what happens when you don't eat fucking fast food. Like,
that I was gonna say,
I
never believed that story that he's never had fast food. And then I start seeing these photos and I'm like, no, he's never had fast food.
The kid's built on organics.
I wonder if he considers Chipotle fast food or not, or if he lives on the protein. Need double meat, double steak.
I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like he probably wouldn't step foot in like the counter service food places. Still, it's like sit down restaurants only.
If I can walk in and we have my food within 5 minutes, can't have it.
Yeah,
Chipotle is different though. Phil Kessel won a fastest skater contest mere minutes after being caught in Chipotle.
Yeah, but Phil Kessel's a specimen.
Yeah.
You can't compare Phil Kessel. The only person you compare Phil Kessel to is what's his name, the golfer, John Daly. That's the only person you can compare Phil Kessel, because they are just works of art. They are peak male.
It's just a whole different breed. That's what it is.
Yeah. The guys. Yeah, I had a joke, but I'll save that one.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
Tell you after.
Okay. Yeah, so that's all I got. You guys got anything else for Hawk Stock?
No, there's literally
closer and closer. Getting close to tickets going on sale, so keep an eye out.
Tomorrow
Thursday.
Or like
tomorrow when this gets posted, yeah.
Keep an eye on that home opener, see Bedard's.
Oh, they released the promo schedule. I didn't get a chance to look at it. I was at work and I kind of like peeked, but
same stuff.
What all the promotions that they have that was released.
Speaking of promo schedule, did you see what the Capitals are doing?
No.
They're doing a Sonny Milano Chia Pet night.
Oh yeah.
I thought that.
I was gonna say, are they like giving out like Russian flags? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
I thought that was fucking hilarious when I saw that. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's fucking great. He's been there for like a minute too.
Yeah. I mean, he's not like a huge part of that team, right? Like,
no.
He went to Calgary. He went to Calgary on a PTO, and then they're like, no.
Yeah. And then they got Washington's like, we've been waiting for somebody with an afro. We've been dying. We've had this promo for so long.
Fucking Chia Pet,
that's hilarious. That's amazing.
All
right, so yeah. All right, moving on to the Pacific Division. This is going to be this is gonna be interesting.
Keep the threads.
Oh yeah.
Pacific, baby.
Specific. It's gonna be an interesting division. I think it's either gonna be, the teams that are gonna be good in it are gonna be really good, and the teams that are gonna be bad in it are gonna be really bad.
That's the story of this division, though.
It's
like,
always
I feel like
the story.
Always like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So starting like how we have been worst to first. We'll start with the Anaheim Ducks, who finished last year 23, 47, 12, 50 with 58 points. They ended up the season on an 11 game losing streak or something like that. Yeah. Really tanked hard for Bedard. Didn't work out. So I guess my only talking point I came up with is, will they finally move on from Gibson? Because I didn't know what else to even bring up about these guys.
Have to.
I mean, they brought in Alex Stalock for that reason, right? Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
he has to. Yeah. I mean, how much longer can you let this guy just fucking sit there on a losing team and be the best player and just keep asking to be traded?
if you're in this rebuild mode, like I don't understand why you're trying to keep a franchise cornerstone type goalie that's not going to be worth it when you're like going towards like competing for the playoffs. Like this is your biggest trading asset. This is their DeBrincat, their Doc, like together basically.
And he's on a great fucking contract too.
Yeah.
So anybody that gets him is gonna pay a premium for him.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand how they haven't just fucking gotten everybody to like go for it. It's just so weird. He's like declared that he wants the trade too, right? Like when and where is this gonna happen?
Yeah.
Buffalo, New Jersey, I've heard.
Just Buffalo.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense. Outside of that, on their like free agency stuff, they didn't really lose anyone, right? Like nothing too big. They didn't really have anybody to begin with. Like, I mean, Shattenkirk went to Boston.
Oh darn.
Yeah, they traded Klingberg at the deadline to Minnesota. Like now he's in Toronto. That doesn't matter. He was there briefly.
That was the whole point
for people that they signed. They have that 7-year deal with Troy Terry that they worked out over the summer. They brought in Gudis and Killorn, which
I don't understand the moves they make. Like, are you rebuilding? Or are you what are you doing? You're adding players.
It's the same thing as last summer when they added Ryan Strome. Like, I don't know what they're because that was a 5-year deal for $5 million. Like, I don't know what they were planning on doing there.
Yeah. I think guys are just like, yeah, I'm ready to retire somewhere warm, but still get paid a hefty penny for the next fucking 4 to 5 years. Like, and the Ducks are just like, yeah, we need bodies and we need to make it to the cap floor while we're terrible.
Like the way that 6 years, the way that they're managing their team is that they're handing out these contracts to guys that are like not going to make a huge impact on this bottom feeding team. Like 4 years for Alex Killorn. Like the Hawks are doing it so much more differently and better. Like it's 1 to 2 years for everybody. Like this isn't the future of your team. Like why are you committing so much money to guys like Alex Killorn, Ryan Strome? Like you brought in Ilya Lyubushkin and you gave away a fourth. Like what was the point of that one?
For 1 year.
Right, for 1 year. You brought in Gudis for 3 years at $4 million. Like you're like, I don't understand the makeup of this.
And they're not going to be good for at least 3 years, which Gudis will be fucking 36. Killorn will be 36, and he'll still have a year left on his deal. Like Strome will be 33 with another year left on his deal.
Like what do you like? Why?
Right. Like, what is the point to all this? Like, and then you keep Gibson. Like, you got to bring that back up. Like, why? I don't get it.
It's like, are you going for it? But like, you're not really going. Are you trying to like show people like you're making moves? Like your fans, like, hey, like, look at these guys that we got. Like, Killorn's a 2-time Cup winner, and Gudis is like a monster that like really fucks with teams. Like, and then, but why? Like, you haven't signed Zegras yet. Like, what's going on?
Right. Like,
he has $16 million. What's going on here?
We went and got Killorn because he played with Corey Perry and he's a legend in Anaheim. Let's just go for him. Like, why not? That'll get people in the seats, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And it's funny too, because it's just like they have Terry, they have Zegras, they have Drysdale, like they have some good young guys. Like,
they have Leo Carlson now too.
McTavish is good.
Like they have young guys, but they're just like the other moves that they're making are just don't make sense whatsoever.
No,
for these young players, like it just doesn't make any sense.
Like, what do they think that they're gonna trade Gudis in 2 years?
No,
or like
who's gonna want him in 2 years, even for $2 million?
Exactly, and like
what kind of long game are they playing with that? Right, like what's the point of a 3-year deal?
The kind of style he plays, like, who knows if he's still in the league in 2 years when he's 35.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, his style of play works for teams that are making the playoffs, right? Like he doesn't have to be so, like, body on body, like, when the team is doing well, I guess. I don't know. Like, he's the type of player that really can up what he does well in the playoffs because that's where it's done best, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's the point of doing that on a team like Anaheim when they're really not going to win shit and go to the playoffs? I don't know. Like, he's just going to end up like destroying his body and not being able to like make a playoff run with somebody else in 2 years. Like, I don't understand. It's weird.
Yeah.
Is Leo Carlson going to play with them this year?
Probably. Like, why not? They don't have anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's on their roster on Cap Friendly.
Like, what's their all right? What does Cap Friendly have their lineup as?
He's not. He's in the minors on their depth chart.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he can go down there because he's from Europe.
He's not.
Doesn't make any sense.
I hate that rule. That's one thing they need to work on.
What, European players going to the AHL?
No, like there needs to be like I don't with juniors. Like I think it's so dumb that the juniors can't go. You can't go to the AHL.
I mean, that's an agreement that they have with them.
I know, and I'm just saying that's dumb.
But I mean, the good thing about it though too is the fact that like that doesn't burn years off of their contract. Like if Leo Carlson stays in the AHL this whole year, like that's a year.
No, I know, but like it sucks for guys like Kirby Doc in that situation where it was like I don't think he couldn't go back to juniors. Like it wasn't going to be beneficial for him. Yeah. But staying in the Hawks was just not going to be good for him either.
Or Shane Wright, where he got Seattle fucking got the most out of him because he didn't burn a year and he was with the team half the season and got healthy scratch the whole year just because he couldn't play in the A. Like he got screwed big time on that one. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, looking at their lineup, like it's just not good. Like they're not going to be good. Let's just hope Zegras can pull off some fancy goals because that's all you're going to be going to watch,
right? And
see how Leo Carlson does whenever he comes up. Like that's all you're looking forward to here, and the inevitable trade of John Gibson to whoever's going to pay. What about Gibson to like Columbus?
I mean, that would be nice.
Like honestly, like I know they have Elvis, but like
Gibson's definitely a step up.
And I mean that's not a bad 1-2 punch either. And you throw Gibson on that lineup, it's not like we talked about them already. Like that's not a bad lineup.
Yeah. That's the one that's so if that lineup stays healthy, like they could be surprising.
Yeah. Buffalo makes much sense though.
Yeah. All right.
The most
on to the other really bad team in this division, the San Jose Sharks. They finished last year. They finished last year 22, 44, 16 for 60 points. Can they tank hard enough this year where they finally get a good prospect to make this rebuild work?
I mean, they definitely got a good prospect already. It's just
I didn't know Will. If I Will, you're talking about Will Smith, right?
Yeah, Will Smith.
I didn't know where when I came up with that talking point. I wasn't sure if he was considered like a high end prospect for them or not. But
I mean, when you're talking about like the way that the the like top 5 was looking, it was between basically like where's Mitchkov going to go, and then it's Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson. Like obviously Bedard's first, but then it's like Fantilli, Carlson, Mitchkov, like da. But then I think it was pretty much just decided like Will Smith is like the next best player in that lineup, and like had there not been any of those guys, like he could have easily gone first. Like that kid had an amazing year in the U.S. national development team. Like he had like 120 something points. Like it's fucking insane.
Yeah, that could be a
stud. He's going to like Boston, right? He's going to BU, I believe. He had 127 points in 60 games.
BC, Boston College.
Oh, he's going to BC?
Yeah.
It's fucking bananas.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's on his
is it on it?
The prospects page.
Oh, okay. There's somebody else that's going to BU instead. Can't remember who it is now.
Yeah, dude, 127 points in 60 games is fucking nuts. That's 51 goals. That
was a development team, right?
Yeah, that was national development team. So
like sick too.
Here's the thing with like San Jose that I think is doing better than obviously Anaheim. Like they just moved their biggest piece, right? Like Erik Karlsson. I mean, call it what you will. Like they got not a great return. They end up with a first which is just top 10 protected from Pittsburgh. I don't see Pittsburgh being in the top 10 for like the draft. So like they got a first. It's probably going to be mid round, depending on how well that older team does put it together. Like it could be fucking late round. Who knows? They ended up getting Michael Granlund, Jan Ruda, and Mike Hoffman. And those are all guys that they can move, right?
And Anthony
Duclair. They brought in Philip Zadina. Like they're doing it the way that the Hawks are doing it, where like the guys that they're bringing in are 1-2 year deals. Their longest commitments right now are Thomas Hertl and Logan Couture, but like that's because those guys have been there forever. They're still stuck with Mark-Edward Vlasic.
I just can't. I feel like that's been a 30-year deal. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, like there's still 3 years left on that. That's crazy. Mario Ferraro is he's going to be one of those guys that like nobody ever is going to hear about, but he's just the Nicholas Hjalmarsson of that team, basically. That guy blocks shots and fucking hits.
You've said that before, man. I've talked about it a couple times.
He's really awesome. I had him on fantasy for a while, and just like the defensive side of the game, he's just blocking and hitting. Like that's it. That's all he's doing. But yeah, like this team obviously is not going to be very good. I forgot they brought in Mackenzie Blackwood as well. Who else did they lose? Anybody?
I don't really think. I mean, it's just because like they don't have the young guys that Anaheim does. I feel like.
Ooh, I think that quite the opposite. I think that they do.
I don't know, like.
Their big young kid that's gonna be probably playing the NHL full time this year is that William Eklund kid, and he's supposed to be pretty fucking great.
Like looking at their lineup on Cap Friendly, it's a bunch of older guys or like mid-age guys that like they're good players, but yeah, they're not going to get anywhere.
And it's a lot of there are a lot of prove it guys right now.
Yeah, right. I mean, these are all. I don't think any of these guys are sticking around besides Couture and Thomas Hertl. Like these are all guys that like, if they're over a certain age, they're probably like, if you play well enough, we'll get you on a team to the playoffs. But like, I got like Philip Zadina, right? Like he's young enough that like, hey, like you're kind of on a prove it deal. Like we'll give you NHL ice time that you weren't getting in fucking Detroit. Like show us that you should have been higher than that 6 overall that you were complaining about, right?
I'm going to fill the nets of all the teams that passed on me.
Right? Yeah, talk a lot of shit and then not prove anything. But, like, hey, here's your chance. Like new place. Like, give it a shot. Show them, like, that they were wrong. Like, really prove yourself. It's the fucking Stan Bowman thing like that he loved to do. Like, bringing in Nylander and bringing in Strome. Just being like, hey, like, you're not showing it there. Like, you're the reclamation project. Like, come and fucking show us that you deserve to, like, play at a higher level or whatever. Fuck. Yeah, Ryan Carpenter back? Okay. Interesting.
Worked out real well for all of those guys that Bowman brought in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I still think that they're still probably on the way down, so they're going to probably be competing for that very first overall pick, right?
Yeah.
But they do have like quality prospects in their system. So
I didn't mean like they don't have good prospects. I meant like on their actual roster. Like they don't have like those young
guys. Yeah. No, they don't.
Yeah. Which is like that's showing that they're all in on like not winning, you know? Like,
like there's like the Hawks last year were basically the San Jose Sharks this year. They don't like they're guys that they're going to be showing off like in a year or two, like Eklund, who I mean probably going to see more ice time this year, but like guys like Will Smith, that Quentin Musty kid that they got fucking Haltonen. They had a good draft. Like those guys that they're going to be building around, like they're not going to see him for a couple of years. So like this is a team of guys that are like we're putting a team together to if you play well, like we'll move you. Like that's exactly what the Hawks did last year with Domi, like bringing him in, and
it's the same
Jake McCabe, you know, like Sam Lafferty, like the guys that really performed well. Like, hey, like we'll get you to a playoff team. Like
you said, it's the same thing as Chicago. Like Kyle Davison inherited a really shitty situation, and he had to work his way out. Mike Greer, same situation. He inherited a very bad situation, and he's doing the steps right now to make it work. And he's, like you said, he's doing a lot better than the Ducks are. So I have more confidence that the Sharks will be able to turn it around. Not going to be like in 3 years type of turnaround, but I have a feeling they're going to turn around a lot quicker than some of these other teams.
Yeah, let me see. What was like? I don't think Greer has actually made any.
Just that
Like,
trade.
it's just the Mario Ferraro is like the longest signing that he has, really.
The Duclair trade, that was a trade that's
Yeah.
about getting Zadina.
I'm just
So,
looking at the signings because like the guys that they're stuck with, you know, like the guys that can't move, Couture, Hurdle, Vlasic, like those are his Seth Joneses, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to move those contracts without taking a huge loss or like retaining a bunch of salary. And I mean, even in that Carlson deal, like what a move! Like they only kept 1.5 million.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's a good fucking deal for them.
They're retaining on Brent Burns right now too with that 2.72.
It's only 2 more years of that.
Yeah, what did he get in that deal? I can't remember that trade.
I'm trying to pull it up.
He got some minor, or I don't know. I don't know who these guys are. Steven Lorentz, is he anything special? No, 7th rounder. Okay.
It was more get it off the books.
Huh. I don't know. Whatever. I think it was definitely that like free up the cap space. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that he's had to do though too, right? Like this team wasn't going anywhere and they were just in cap hell. So you're just in cap hell at the bottom of the league. Like those are two terrible things. Like if you're at least in cap hell, at least be at the top of the league. And if you're in the bottom of the league, at least don't be in cap hell. Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Swim out of this cap, like make any move you need to. But
yeah.
He's doing a good job so far, I think. Like I think he's doing like the shitty situation.
I mean, at least up front on the forwards, he has plenty of wiggle room. Like there's a lot of guys, a lot of the main guys are on 1-year deals. Not like main guys, but like those pieces that like teams are gonna want, like Kevin LeBlanc, Mike Hoffman, Anthony Duclair, this Barbanoff kid, Oscar Lindholm. Like they're good enough that like they can be moved, but I don't know what you're gonna get for them. But yeah, San Jose, man, they're gonna struggle. And they're not going to be fun. They're not going to be fun to watch because they don't have Erik Karlsson anymore.
Yeah,
you're losing over 100 points out of one player,
right? And you were still fucking bottom of the league.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this team for me is one of those intriguing teams in this division. The Vancouver Canucks, 38, 37, and 7 for 83 points. Talking point, after going 20, 12, and 4 under Rick Tocchet, can this team compete for a playoff spot again? So it's going to basically be, is this team what we saw at Bruce Boudreau, or is this the team that we saw Tocchet turn them into?
Yeah, Vancouver, man.
So much more into it than that. Like, I just feel like there's just something going on where like the guys just like, I don't know. There's just no good chemistry, it feels like, out of this team. I mean, yeah, like you said, when Tocchet came in, like they did play better, but like a lot of the talk about when he came in was like, oh, they're bringing in him to wrangle like JT Miller and like get him playing better, which that's great. Like JT Miller's a great player, but like defensively he's terrible, and you're gonna bring in a coach just to handle one guy. Yeah. Like, I mean, they've got a lot of good pieces. I mean, there's a lot. Demko, when Boudreau came in, originally came in, he was unbelievable. And then the next season of Boudreau, he just fell off.
Yeah, Demko needs a really good bounce back season for Vancouver to like.
He deal with a lot of injuries last year too.
I don't think so. I think he just shat the bed.
But yeah, he did not play well either.
But also, Vancouver started the year literally losing multi-goal fucking leads.
Oh yeah,
left and right. Just left and right, man. Like
that's the record, right?
It was like 8 in a row.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, you look at their top line, like it's a sick line: Kuzmenko, Pettersson, and Besser. Like that's sick. And then you got Beauvillier, Miller, and Mikheyev. Like that's still a decent line. But like, I don't know. Like it's a good team. It's a good lineup. It's just I don't know.
I know they brought in Suter.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Him and Garland on a line together. I really just don't know. Like I think they're going to be like
their biggest thing right now is the fact. I mean, they bought out OEL, right? Like,
Yeah,
that was huge. Just not living up to that contract that he had there.
and that was one of those guys. He was a victim of the contract. Like he got offered an awesome contract. He, of course, is going to sign it, and he was never going to live up to that. And that's what's so funny when these people are like, "Oh my god, this guy sucks." It's like, well, he's good for what he should be making, but of course, he's going to look worse because he got offered stupid money.
Right, and he only wanted to go to Vancouver. That's the only place he would get traded to. Like,
it was like that or Boston.
Yeah. Which and then
this fucking team too is like it's so strange to me. Like, I don't know why. Well, first of all, they haven't made any moves since like the deadline, and like at the deadline, like for whatever reason, they decided to give up a first round pick to Detroit for Philip Hronik. And I was just kind of like, what do you? Like, why are you buying? Like, that didn't make any sense. I don't know. They didn't really lose anyone in the offseason. They still have some guys that like fucking I don't know, man. Like it's just weird. It's weird. They brought in Pius Suter. They brought in like Teddy Bluger and Ian Cole. Like I don't know. Did they bring in Carson Soucy? It's fucking what? He has a no trade clause. I'm so confused when you see somebody with like a $3 million deal and a full no trade clause. Like, so what is happening?
Their top two defensemen, Hughes and Hronik, combined had 115 points last year. The bottom four defensemen on their team had a combined 56.
Well, Hronik had most of his points in Detroit.
No, I know.
He only played 4 games in Vancouver. I'm assuming he had gotten hurt.
And I mean, he was hurt when he got traded to.
Oh, like, you know, that might have been what it was.
But like just looking at it that way, like you need your D to get points. You're like your bottom 4 guys aren't even getting.
Well, I mean, yeah, Quinn Hughes is just disgusting. 69 fucking assists, nice. The huge thing for me is just Thatcher Demko needs to play better.
Yeah.
But this team, like they've just had such a weird back and forth ever since like COVID started, because there was times where they were just like winning nonstop, but they still didn't make the playoffs because like they had just gotten like fucked in the ass before that. Where like during COVID, they had that time where they had all the stretch where they were missing a ton of games, and then they had like 19 games in 23 days or some shit like that, and just got screwed during that season. They did their thing at the beginning of this year where they just lost a bunch of multi-goal games, and then they still ended up with not like too far out of the playoffs, right? Like they still finished better than San Jose and Anaheim. Like they switched coaches and fucking started winning games. So I'm curious.
I mean,
to see,
they
like,
were up to.
What do they bring in this year? Like, what do they
people
actually
were talking
do?
about them being a playoff team up until probably a couple weeks left in the year. Like they were not mathematically eliminated, but
I forgot that they traded Bo Horvat too.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting they traded at the Islanders' first round pick for Hronik. So I still don't understand that. Like, why not keep that pick? Like, hopefully you didn't have to do that.
Hopefully Pettersson can build off of what he did last year too. The 102-point season.
Well, he's on a
contract year. Yeah, he's gonna definitely build on it. I mean, they're gonna get a full year with like Beauvillier now too. JT Miller is hopefully just gonna be not a baby little bitch, and just it's the first year of his 8-year fucking $8 million deal. He still finished the year good, like 82 points in 81 games.
He had what, nine shorthanded points or something like that?
Yeah. It's Andrei Kuzmenko, like they brought that kid in last year on a 1-year deal, and now he's got a 2-year deal at 5.5. He had 30 goals? Yeah, 39 goals, 35 assists.
Yeah, he was solid last year.
I don't understand how you're getting all these solid performances out of these certain guys and yet still being so far out of the playoffs, but it's just because you lose these games you should have been winning.
Yeah.
So if they can
'cause I
turn
mean,
it
count how
around
many
and fucking win those games instead, man, like
you win
they
half
can
of those
be
games. You win
flirting with
half
the
of those
wild card.
games.
Yeah.
They blew their 2-goal leads, and you're a wild card team. Like,
Mhm.
oh, but
I mean, overall, they were minus 22 on the season, like as a team.
oof.
Oh, really? That's not like goal differential?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Oh,
That's pretty fucking tight to being like in the playoffs. You got to believe that's so much of the beginning of the year, right? Like that's the
They
issues that Buffalo had too. Like you start the year either shitty or like there's always like a shitty point in the beginning of the year that you now have to dig yourself out of this hole. And like that's what they had to do.
it's the
And I
biggest
mean,
no dust statement, but you got to be consistent.
right. There's the whole like it's that whole portion of time too that they had when they were like they're gonna fire Bruce Boudreau, right?
Yeah.
And it was just so drawn out. It's just kind of like, all right, guys, come on.
Slowly
Like,
pulling the band-aid. It's like, just
yeah,
fucking rip it, fire him.
So we'll see like Taka getting a full year too. Like maybe they'll come out hot. Like who knows? That this division is such a fucking weird one.
Yeah.
All right. Another very intriguing team, and I don't think is as positive, even if Vancouver wasn't really that positive, but the Calgary Flames last year finished 38, 27, 17 for 93 points. Clearly lost the Matthew Tkachuk trade. Players don't want to resign here. They're having a hard time getting their good players to sign long term here. Are they going to free fall in this division, or do they have enough talent for the time being to get back into the playoffs?
Who's their coach?
Now it's Ryan Huska. He was the assistant.
Okay. So I feel like Calgary is so hard to read because I think they have to be better than they were last year. Like there's no way Huberdeau is going to be as bad as he was. Like he wasn't
55 point or what was it? Did he end with 55 points?
Yeah.
So it was like a 60 point drop off.
Yeah. I mean like
the year prior.
He's better than 55 points. Like 55 points still isn't bad, but like he's better than that. Like I just don't see him doing that bad again.
No.
And then like same with Kadri, I think he can step up another season there. Like there's guys there that can like play.
Yeah, Kadri had 56. Like they both underperformed hard.
Right. But like at the same time, like you said, there's that whole guys don't want to be there. There's guys on like ending contracts. Are they going to get traded? Like what's this team going to look like? And a new coach coming in can go obviously one of two ways. And for me, I think most of those guys hated Sutter at the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
So
well, that's the thing too, that like how much of that goes into the fact that like Kadri and Huberdeau were having trouble producing is because of his coaching style.
Right. Exactly. It's like there's not many guys in the league that enjoy that kind of coaching style, like the Torts, like Sutter kind of guy. And obviously Tyler Toffoli is one of those guys because every time he ends up on fucking Sutter's team, he just lights the lamp.
Yeah. And I mean, they moved on from him. So,
right. But it's just a combination of like guys playing poorly. It could have been because of Sutter. Obviously, the locker room wasn't great because of Sutter.
College football fans, are you ready for week 1? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with can't miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdictions, void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsibility games resources. Bonus bets expires 7 days. after insurance eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
I think this team has to be better. And Markstrom is good every other year. So he wasn't great last year. So, I mean, he's got to be better this year, right? Like,
yeah, their whole tandem was like, even Vladar, like the year before, like they were just shutout machines. And then last year, it's like everybody found out what the hell their weakness was.
And then they also got that Dustin Wolf, who a lot of teams like too, and they've been kind of dangling him out there as potential trade bait.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
They've been as trade bait?
Yeah, or was it the other guy? One of the goalies they were
probably
saying.
Vladar.
Okay.
But like Dustin Wolf is like talks and like could be Calder. Like they think that he's gonna have such a stellar year, like once he comes in. And if he comes in this year, like I don't know, we'll see. A lot of people I feel like a lot of Flames fans when I see him online are like banking on their sanity of like Dustin Wolf being like really good and like the savior of their back end. And it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, as a whole, like looking at these players on paper, like prior to last year, you're like, man, this is like a pretty solid team. And that's why I think a lot of the underperforming has to do with coaching.
I think a lot of people thought the Flames won that trade initially.
Oh yeah,
going into the season because
getting Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar, like
yeah.
But the year prior, Weegar had I don't know how many points. He only had 31 last year. Let's see, he had fucking 44. That's not bad. But he was also a plus 40. Is that right? Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's I don't know. It was a weird summer, right? Like maybe that much turnover and like losing two 115-point guys from your team. Literally fucking Gaudreau and Tkachuk put up the identical like points. Like that happening maybe caused a stir in the locker room, you know, like you start seeing guys like you hear like Hanifin doesn't want to sign long term. Like you had mentioned that before, and just kind of like everybody being like, Hanifin, oh, like the American boys don't want to fucking stay in Calgary. It's like,
well, Lindholm and Backlund too. They offered Lindholm like multiple 8-year deals, including the C to be a part of it, and he's like, no.
Yeah,
which is crazy because like they bring Huberdeau in and he signs like what an 8-year deal or 7-year deal like at 10.5 like immediately.
Yeah.
8 years. Yeah, 8 years, 10.5.
Yeah.
So here that's wait, that doesn't make any. I'm so confused. What did he have? Oh, he had another year left on his deal. Okay, that's why. I was like, how did Tkachuk have to sign his in Florida, but like Huberdeau or in Calgary, but Huberdeau didn't, but it's because Huberdeau had a year left.
And I genuinely think there's something to guys playing in one place for a long time and getting traded to a new team. Yeah. Like Huberdeau, like was in Florida for a long time. Him and Barkov were the face of that organization for the past. Yeah. So like him going to Calgary and being a part of this huge trade, like you said, Gaudreau's gone and Tkachuk, who basically were Calgary's Huberdeau and Barkov because they were the two faces of the past decade. Like you have to replace them. And he's
that line with it was like them two and like Lindholm was one of the best lines in the league that year. They were like Lindholm was a plus 61 that season. Yeah, like they were all like fucking just clicking, putting up points like crazy. Like you tear that chemistry away, man. Like that's hard to like reestablish, you know.
So it's just so much went into it last year, and like just everybody was talking about the trade, like who's going to win the trade. So like it's just, and it's easier for Tkachuk to go to Florida where there's not as much buzz about a team than Huberdeau to go up to Canada and Calgary, like where that's all they talk about is hockey. So it's like it was just easier mindset for Tkachuk to go down there and be like, yeah, I'm just going to put up another 100 points, no problem.
Yeah.
For Huberdeau to go up there and be like, fuck, this is a completely different animal.
I can see this team bouncing back this year though too, because like they still have plenty of like really good pieces.
I think it comes down to how long they keep these pending free agents. If they can't get them to sign, are they going to?
Oh yeah, are they going to move?
Tavares and just hold on to them the entire season, then lose them, or are they going to try to get something for them at the deadline?
It's kind of like, are you going to be able to change their mind as the season's going on, right? Like if they're performing well, and everybody's happy, like the locker room's good, like are they going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, I'll sign an extension. I was just going to say, like, I feel like they had like the opposite Nashville last year, right? Like all the guys had like career down years, like everybody did. And so you can see like if they get back just like even to their mean, right? Like that team can be pushing playoffs.
So we'll see. All right, moving on to the playoff teams in this division. First up was the Seattle Kraken, who finished 46, 28, and 8 for 100 points. They lost in the second round to the Dallas Stars. In last season's biggest Cinderella story, continue into this year.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I think like the team, did they really shake it up too much?
They
Jonas
lost Martin Jones. I
Donskoy
know that.
retired. Ryan Donato's in Chicago.
Right.
Daniel Sprong's in Detroit, starting fights at bars. Morgan Geekie went to Boston, but like, what did they bring in? They brought in Connor Carrick. Callan Fleury or Hayden Fleury? The fuck, which one did they bring in? Because the other one, Cale Fleury. They just
both of them both of them were at the expansion, I thought.
Hayden Fleury went to Tampa. Vince Dunn signed a decent ticket. He's gonna have a monster year, guarantee it. Put it on the board. Yeah, I mean, this is right. Like, this is going to be like the opposite of Calgary. Like, Calgary on paper looks good. Like, they could probably make a playoff team. This is like they look okay. They overperformed last year, I think. I don't know if anybody really would have thought Jared McCann was going to have 40 plus goals.
No.
Like, is he gonna repeat that? Right? Like, they won a little bit of a gamble by bringing in Eli Tolvanen in after he was waived because he wasn't doing shit in Nashville.
And that turned out to be big hit.
Yeah, he really stepped up once he got there.
Helps a lot though that they went on a run and like Matty Beniers was on the team. Like that just much more confidence, like in seeing what playoff hockey's actually like getting a full year under his belt and then doing that. I think he's gonna have a really good year this year. And then Shane Wright's gonna be on the team too. So we'll see what that kid can end up doing. And it's hilarious that he makes more than Matty Beniers and Beniers is so much better than him.
Right. And you just gotta imagine how hungry Shane Wright is now, right? Like he played 8 games, it says. Yeah. And Beniers just won the fucking Calder. So those are 2 good centers to have like going forward, right? Like if Shane Wright can hit that ceiling of like where he was supposed to be, and having Beniers was a 2nd overall pick, Shane Wright was a 4th overall pick. Like,
did you say they brought in Yamamoto too?
Oh yeah, like after he got bought out by Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, Philip Grubauer had a decent year, but I think it was more of like all their goalies kind of like did just good enough.
If their defense was they play so well 2 ways, and their defense is so good at shutting teams down. That's why their goalies played so well, and their goalies played good enough to just help that.
Yeah, like Martin Jones was a huge part of that goalie tandem, and people are like, oh, it's a big thing they lost him, and then you look and he had like a 8-something save percentage. It wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at fucking Philip Grubauer right now. He had an .895 save percentage.
Yeah.
Like this is a complete team, right? Like they don't really have like a superstar, which I would argue maybe like Beniers is going to end up being, because he had 50, he had 57 points. Like Jared McCann, he got injured towards the end of the season, I think. I don't know. He had 79 games played. He had 70 points. If he can repeat, like that's good. But like the rest of the team is just solid enough. Like they're in the 30s. Like pretty much every other player that had like a significant amount of time on the team is in the 30-ish points, 30 to 40 points. So everybody's contributing. And so, you're getting, each line is going to be giving you something when they're out there. Even their defense, which is kind of crazy. They all have like 20 plus points. Except for Dumoulin was somebody that they just brought in. which is great. I mean, if you're getting contributions from each line, whether it's forwards or defense, like you'll win games just purely based off of depth because a lot of teams don't have that.
And I mean, doing it that way, it's just like it's kind of proven, like looking back at like Stanley Cup teams, like those or teams that make runs in playoffs, like that's kind of how they're built. It's just doing it by committee, like
Yep.
First, second, third, no matter what line you throw out there, you can get a point, you can stop play, you can draw a penalty. Like you're expecting something positive out of no matter what line you have out there. You don't have any liabilities. So it's like
look at the Hawks in 2013. It was like any one of those lines could go out there and be the hero and be the top dog.
You can plug in and place somebody on a different line, and you're still gonna get plenty of
look at teams,
contributions.
And then this is a ricochet shot here, Nolly, but it's like then look at teams like Toronto, and it's like they have all these guys, and it's
so top heavy.
And it just doesn't get the job done.
I mean, to be fair, they still have solid like bottom six guys. They never play, so like they can't get into a groove.
Where they just rely too heavy on that top six.
They rely too heavy on it, and they don't show up. Like
right here. So here's like average ice time, which is kind of crazy now that we're talking about like getting in a groove. First line, like 16, 17 minutes. Second line, 16, 17 minutes. Third line, 14, 15, 17 minutes. Fourth line with Brandon Tanev right now, like 14 minutes. Like that's literally spreading the ice time out.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like if let's say Beniers gets closer to 20 minutes, that guy's going to be a point per game, right? Like.
Not only that, but like look at their center depth. Like Beniers is your top guy, and then you have Glenn. Like that's solid. Like that's some solid center depth right there.
Yeah, Yanni Gourde is just a menace. Fucking anytime the Hawks play Seattle, like Yanni Gourde is like, oh wait, I just feel like he's always out there, and I'm just like, I cannot stand you, but you're probably like the player I would love the most on the Hawks.
Yeah.
All right. LA Kings. They finished last year 41, 25, and 10 for 104 points. They lost in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers. They made some big move, or a big move. I don't know what else they did. Is it going to take them to the next level, or do they sell too high?
Dude, I love this team, except for their goaltending. I don't understand that you had – it was Korpisalo, right, that ended up going –
Yeah.
Had him. Why did you not just sign him? Like, I don't get it. And you went out and got Cam Talbot. Like, yeah, like he was okay, but like he doesn't stay healthy. And Phoenix Copley,
he was not okay. He was not okay in Ottawa.
The first year of Ottawa, he was okay, and then last year,
he was only in Ottawa for 1 year.
Really? He was in Minnesota. Then am I thinking of?
Yeah, you're thinking of Minnesota. He was playing really well in Minnesota.
Okay, but like. And then Phoenix Copley, like you signed him to that contract, and he's just been dog shit since. And now your goaltending is, I mean, it's only a 2.5 cap hit, but like, it's not good. Like it's not
right. For a team that was dependent on goaltending all throughout the 2010s. They've just been like, what if we just did it?
Ups in that time. Should we try and get more with a different like mindset? I don't know, but like
they got Big Save Dave in the minors too, so
true. He can come out of nowhere. I really like this, and like after last year, like in my mind, them keeping Korpisalo, I was like, this team's gonna be scary going forward.
What would it take for them to get Gibson?
That's what I was thinking, Gibson or Hellebuck.
And it's going to be such a huge price because like either you're trying to trade within the division or trade within the conference for those guys. Like that's not going to work out that well.
And it's just you had the guy. Why did you let him go? You had the guy.
Yeah.
Like,
why didn't you extend Korpisalo? Like
he
played so well too for him.
Not only did you had him, you traded away one of your most famous like players of all time, Jonathan Quick, to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it just made so much sense for him just to replace Quick. I don't get that move, and like such a huge asterisk now on their back end. Like,
yep,
it makes them not that big of a threat to me. Like they're really not as much of a threat as I thought they were going to be going into the season, strictly because of their goaltending.
I mean, for me, it's funny because I feel like with their center depth. Like these guys are all two-way fucking studs, right? Like they're just kind of like, we don't need a goalie. Like, we could put a fucking shooter out there. It does not matter. We're gonna win faceoffs, and we're gonna have great two-way fucking centers, and it's not gonna fucking matter.
Yeah, a shooter tier would literally be better than either of these goalies anyway.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, and they brought in Gavrikov. Like they added D too. Like it's just they did so well. Other than that one specific.
Did he come at the deadline too last year?
Yeah, he was part of the Korpisalo package.
So they essentially had a pick between the two of those guys. Who did you want more? Who's going to benefit more?
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, did they lose anybody else?
That's crazy though.
The main loss was the trade.
Kopitar extended. Did they sign Andreas Englund? Yeah, they did. That's funny.
They're still paying. That's so funny.
They're still what? Paying Mike Richards?
Remember when he got banned from his own country?
Yeah. Oh, fucking, they retained on Provorov too. That's such a weird, I mean, it makes sense because they got out of that Cal Peterson contract. Jeez.
Did you see that stat with the all-time Slovakian point leaders in NHL history? Anze Kopitar, 1,141. Jan Mrzak, 4.
Oh, okay.
One of the best Slovakian players to ever touch the puck. No shit.
Anze, you mean Slovenian?
Slovenian.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was like, Slovakia.
Sorry.
I was like, Hosa?
Yeah.
Kopitar's fucking unreal though.
Yeah. Dude, look at that center. That's like you were talking about, dude. Kopitar, Dubois, and then Philip Deneau, probably the best two-way defenseman or centerman in the league. Like,
is he gonna play though? Like, is he actually gonna try Dubois? Like, is he gonna?
Yeah,
like,
he's gonna try this year.
Like, that's the thing, though. It's like he's such a wild card.
Yeah,
I feel.
I don't know. I mean, he signed that ticket. He's in LA where he wanted to go. Like him, Fiala, and Arvidsson. Like that's a sick second line.
And also just the fact that Adrian Kempe just had a quiet 41 goal year.
That kid's sick. Yeah, everybody sleeps.
And Quentin Byfield, I mean, the kid's got size. He's probably playing a full season this year. He only had 53 games last year, 22 points. Like he's just going to be getting better too, right? Like
he was hurt, and it was like something back from when he came back. He wasn't the same. So like it'll be nice to see him have like a clean bill of health. And I wonder like Alex Turcotte, is he ever going to get the call up? Like
hasn't he had just more like concussion issues?
Yeah. He's had some issues, but like I don't know. Like he hadn't before that. I feel like he wasn't where they were hoping he would be, and then you add on the concussion stuff. That's not going to help.
Yeah.
With Turcotte, that's tough though too, because now it's like, is he really? You're really going to put him in a fourth line center role?
He probably just moved a wing, right?
Especially somebody you're just moving him to a wing.
That's the thing too. Quentin Byfield was supposed to be a center. Right now, he's just listed as left wing for Kopitar. And like, I mean, you'll probably toss him in at center every once in a while, right? Like whenever you need to. But like, what would be better than learning from Kopitar on his line, right? Like,
very true.
Yeah, this team I can see. I mean, being better. It's their whole like philosophy on how they've won games before, where it's very defensive focused. I think they either have to really up their defense because the goaltending is so shit, or it's gonna be more offensive focused. Like, I don't know, man.
A lot of like 8-7 games, like
you really just got to make sure that there's no pucks going at the net.
Yeah, that's the big thing. All right. Moving on, Edmonton Oilers, they finished 50-23-9 for 109 points. They lost in the second round to the Vegas Golden Knights. Can McDavid and Draisaitl finally will this team into a Stanley Cup?
I think it's possible. Very possible.
And possibly can to do it. It's, man, it's just so sad for them. 153 points and 128 points. Like, what else can they do? Draisaitl was at another level this playoff too. He was insane. I mean, it didn't help that he got fucking
hurt.
He was hurt and he was still fucking tearing it up.
I don't know. He hurt. He got fucking across the ice, fucking baseball bat across the wrist, swing. It was fucking insane. I can't believe that was just fucking nuts. I still can't believe that play. The best player in the fucking playoffs, and they were like, yeah, just one game. That's fine. Like, okay, whatever. I mean, they brought in Connor Brown. I think that's gonna be I think he's gonna play really well there. Right now, he's projected to be with McDavid and Kane. It's gonna be an interesting line. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that line, but
like you can really only have one guy in front of the net at a time, right? Like, well, I mean, here's the good thing. Like, whoever's in front of the net, the other one's probably in the corner.
Right.
And then you're just circling it around with McDavid, and he's just fucking ripping. He's gonna put in 75 goals. It's gonna be stupid.
Bouchard came in and stepped in for Barry on the power play and looked awesome.
The fact that Bouchard also signed a ticket nowhere near what I thought he was going to sign, but it's just like a bridge deal.
Yeah.
He only signed for 3.9, and he's going to have he's going to have a monster year probably because, like you said, he's going to be first line power play, right? So in the playoff, he had 40 points in 82 games, and then like you said, stepping in once Barry left. So by the time the playoffs come around, 17 points in fucking 12 games.
Dude, when he first stepped in, the amount of times I just bet him to get a power play point and it was plus odds was just fucking stupid. And then like row he got a point like on the power play. It finally like dropped. I was like, damn it, I rode that real well though. I still love you get a full season of Matthias Ekholm, which
I was about to say I'm very excited to see how that works out.
They really needed that like defensive defenseman type, especially playing with a guy like Evan Bouchard. We've talked about it before. I love a stay-at-home guy with that power, like the puck moving guy. Like it works so well together. Also, Ekholm, only non-Canadian defenseman on the team, so there's that.
That's true.
It's just what are you getting out of? It's back to goalies, dude. What are you getting out of Skinner and Campbell?
Well, that's the thing. I think now they're starting the year. I'm sure Skinner's going to be the one, right? And it's crazy because like we all know the struggles that Jack Campbell had last year. He still finished with a record of 21-9.
I know I was just looking at that.
Isn't that crazy? But that's because that's the McDavid factor. Like you're getting scored on like crazy. But guess what? He's putting in fucking 5. Like,
but he also 3.41 goals against average and an 888 save percentage. Like not good.
The stats, like when they signed him, man, I was so happy that he didn't re-sign with the Leafs because it's another guy that never was going to live up to that contract. Like we all know what Jack Campbell is. He's a solid backup goalie. He is not a starter. He's never been proven to be a starter, and it's just like you spent so much money on him, and it was such a waste.
That's the Edmonton Oilers MO, right? Like, they brought in Cam Talbot from the Rangers, and like that was their answer, and then all of a sudden like downhill after the first season. They brought in Mike Smith, they brought in fucking Koskinen, they brought in like they just
at least they're
never really tried to go get like a true number one,
like a Sallow or a Gibson or a Hellebuck.
But I mean, now with like the tandem that they have, knowing that Campbell's actually not starting and having Stuart Skinner, like they made the playoffs. They showed that they can compete.
Forget that.
Like fucking this team's gonna be good. Like it looks so much better on paper. Like you said, Matthias Ekholm being back there, Evan Bouchard is gonna get such a bump, like with all the like offensive duties. The fact that they still have Cody Ceci is just hilarious. I don't know. I don't ever understand how that guy has a fucking job in the NHL.
Does he just have blackmail like every GM?
Yeah, I don't know. You have 3 100-point plus getters on the fucking offensive side. Like that's insane. But yeah, this team's gonna be good. They're gonna be so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like I think that they'll probably end up being like President's Trophy.
And does it translate? That's the only thing. Like that's And God forbid McDavid or Draisaitl go down for any period of time this year.
All McDavid's career has been is literally fucking getting better and better and better and better. And so it's hard for me to doubt that he would be like no worse than last year, right? Like he's probably going to score more goals. He's probably going to hit almost 100 assists. He's literally
he's going to put up 300 points and still lose in the first round because the rest of the team won't step up with him.
Like the year before, when we thought it was ridiculous, he had 123 points. He then added 20 goals and 10 assists to that point total. Like,
not only we thought it was insane that he did that. Draisaitl came out and put up 128 points this year, and nobody cares because McDavid put up 153.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's the story of them. McDavid, it's like, oh my god, look what McDavid did, and it's like Draisaitl's just as good. It's like no, but McDavid's even better now. Like, Draisaitl just tries to keep up, and he's just a year behind every time. But like, it's stupid. I wouldn't be shocked next year if McDavid was 1.87 goal points per game last year. Like, I could see him being a 2-point per game guy this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he only needs like a few more points to be at that, right? Like it's just 160 fucking 4, right? And he was at 153. He needs 11 more points. Like, yeah, he'll probably end up doing it. And the thing too with last year, like fucking Evander Kane, like getting hurt with a huge wrist thing, like him being hopefully healthy the whole year, like he's so good with McDavid. It's crazy.
He's just a fucking pure goal scorer. So like you said, McDavid probably hitting 100 points. Evander missed 40, like literally half the season. I mean, that's 11 assists right there. And there's your 11 points that he missed being a 2-point per game.
Yeah, right.
Easy. So yeah, absolutely. I could see it. And like we said, Bouchard stepping in on the power play, doing as well as he did, especially how well they did in the playoffs. It was just money in the playoffs. So like I could see that being even bigger factor during the regular season. Like all of them getting more points just because of that power play.
They didn't, like, looking at their free agency so far, like they didn't lose anybody, right? Like that's the other crazy thing.
Yeah. It's
like this team is still adding pieces. They got rid of Yamamoto and Klim Kostin, but like who cares, right?
Well, they got Sam Gagner and a PTO too.
Yeah, I saw that. He'll play against the Hawks and put up fucking 8 points.
I mean, everybody will, so it's fine.
Why doesn't he just come to Chicago?
Sam Gagner next year.
Can't get negative points. All right. Last in the division, Vegas Golden Knights finished 51-22-9 for 111 points. They won the Stanley Cup. Good for the fan base. They've been waiting a long time for it. Two things I have here is Vegas a lock to repeat, and how will Adin Hill follow up last season, going from like a career backup guy to now looks like he's the guy.
I'm just gonna go out and say he's still not the guy. Like Logan Thompson was like the guy until he got hurt. And then it was like guys by committee until Adin Hill like was like, oh, like I'll just play well enough in the playoffs.
Like giving him 4.9 million after that, it's
interesting to see what Thompson wants after his deal's done, because he's only at 766,000, and like you said, like he was their guy. Like and he showed that he could be a starter until he got hurt. Where Adin Hill, like you said, like he went on a run, but we've seen a lot of goalies go on runs in the playoffs, but they're not good enough after that. Like there's plenty of examples of that. So I think going into the season, Hill will probably be the starter, but if he starts to mess up at all, Thompson's right in there, and I could see him just stealing the show all the way down to the rest of the season. I want to know these teams that are like over the cap, or like if you count LTIR, they're under the cap, but you have to be under the cap completely before the season starts. Like I need to know like what kind of moves they're going to be making to get under the cap to start the season. Like that's what I'm most interested about a lot of these teams.
That's what I'm so confused about. Like how true is that? Because there's so many teams that need to do like make moves.
No,
I mean, even teams like Tampa and Toronto like need to make moves even with LTIR. Like,
I know.
So wait, with Laner going on LTIR, they're good, right? Am I reading that right?
Right. They're 800
yeah,
in cap space or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Jesus.
I mean, once they figure that out, like they're running it back. I mean, they lost Riley Smith, which he's one of the original misfits and stuff. Like that's, I'm sure that's gonna take a little bit of a hit in the locker room, like losing a guy like that, especially for like Marchessault and Carlson, because that was the line. But I mean, you just look at this lineup, like it's stacked, like it's almost exact, like they're almost running it back completely. Like you have Jack Eichel and Mark Stone as like your top two forwards, essentially. Like that's fucking
But isn't Mark Stone like dead?
Yeah, he'll probably miss the entire season until playoffs.
He'll miss a lot of They were saying something like he's never going to play a full season again. So,
dude, Mark Stone's so good.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of these guys were on the Cup team last year, so it's they know what it takes, and they could easily just do whatever the fuck they want, especially in this dog shit division.
Yeah, that's the huge issue is the fact that this division is so bad. There was a post by like NHL on Instagram, and it was like goalie tandems of the Pacific Division, like who you taking? And I was like, holy shit, this is just such a dog shit goalie division. Like it is not good at all. Like the best is probably like Markstrom, but like they had a terrible year.
Yeah.
And then like you look at every team, like that's basically the complaint for every team that we had. Like the best goalie in the whole division is probably John Gibson. He's on the fucking last place team. Like what the fuck, dude? Like that's a big reason why I think McDavid can also put up so many points, because he gets to play in this dog shit goaltending division. Like,
yeah,
this team though is just it goes into what we were talking about a bit with like Seattle. Like everybody contributes on this team. It's just they're a level higher than Seattle, right? Like they have the guys like Jack Eichel, Jonathan Marchessault, like that can, and Chandler Stevenson had a monster year. Like guys that are closer to a point per game versus 30 to 40 to 50 points like Seattle was.
I'm gonna say, like, I feel like Seattle, like when you compile it together, it's more so like a group of like third line guys, where you compile this like more of like that second line guy. Like it's just another a little bit of a tier above it. Like they can put up more points, play a little bit better defensively. Like it's just they're just one step ahead. But yeah, they absolutely do it by committee. Like your top point getter on offense had 66 points. Granted, I mean Eichel, he only played 67 games, but still, like,
yeah, he's almost a point per game. Like he gets a full season, he'll probably be close to 82.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to see what they get of a full season at Barbashev too. Like,
guys like Barbashev, Mark Stone is going to be like hurt, but like guys like Barbashev who play that like hard nosed kind of style hockey on a team like this, when they make deep playoff runs, he's going to end up getting hurt, and they're going to miss time.
Yeah.
Like he played 82 last year. Like we'll see if he can do it again. Alex Martinez is a year older. Like so is Pietrangelo. He missed a few games due to injury too, or was it family stuff?
It was a family thing.
It was family things, right?
Yeah.
Like Shea Theodore is fucking gross offensively.
He missed some time too.
Mm-hmm. Like they're pretty stacked, man. Like
they are. Yeah, it's can they stay healthy?
Yeah. The thing with them though too, it's like they don't need to stay healthy. They're good enough where if their guys are out for a period of time, they can make the playoffs, and then they're all back in time, and that's when it gets dangerous. Like,
well, that's the thing that's crazy to me too, is like if they miss guys, like they're the team that trades for somebody and makes sure that those guys that they're missing don't come back until playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just like what fucking irks me about this team too, right? Like going into the fucking playoffs, $14 million over the cap. And like just year after year doing that, like that's the reason. That's one of the reasons I fucking hate the fact that they won, right? Like,
yeah. I hate that, just the way their management treats the players and all that kind of stuff. Like,
the whole like shipping people out, like Riley Smith this year, like fucking Pacioretty last year, Fleury the year before.
Yeah,
like It's a yearly thing for them to get just under the cap and then circumvent the cap as soon as the season starts.
Yeah. But hey, man, got him a cup in their first 5 years. So
yeah,
It's not a rule. It's not against the rules. I mean, they're playing by the rules, so you can't.
plenty of teams have done it.
Yeah. So all right, that's specific. We'll do top 3, bottom 3. Who wants to start with their top 3?
Why do we do top 3, bottom 3? Then there's just 2 in the middle.
I don't know.
I don't get that.
I don't know.
Top 3 is like clearly making the playoffs, and then bottom 3 is just like lottery picks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to picture this division changing very much from last year.
Yeah. I mean, I probably got San Jose at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because as soon as Anderson, like, they're not getting a lot of wins.
Yeah. I saw the Ducks at the bottom. I can't see.
No way, man. They brought in Gudis. They're good.
True. And
They're goodest.
Yeah, honestly, the bottom 3 are probably exactly the same for me.
Yeah, it's San Jose is going to be last for sure. Didn't they have Reimer in that last year too? Now they're depending on Blackwood and Kokkonen. Again, goalie tandems, man, like in this division are shit.
They don't get goalies. They don't know. Except for Anaheim. And Anaheim doesn't know how to do anything with their roster.
The fact that Anaheim is going to end up being one of the worst teams and holding on to a really good goalie is just fucking driving me crazy.
Gotta go. To me, it's Edmonton top, and then probably just flip Edmonton, Vegas, LA.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Okay.
Edmonton, I'm telling you right now, Edmonton's winning the President's Trophy.
All their fans are gonna go fucking nuts and pray that they don't, because the President's Trophy winners don't win the cup.
I mean, they'll make it into the second round. Like, they'll win the President's Trophy, they'll make it to the second round, and then they'll face a team that actually has like solid depth.
Like Vegas. Sick.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, Edmonton's getting more and more like full team, I guess you could say. It's still just not quite there.
You're gonna get right there just in time for Draisaitl and McDavid's or Draisaitl's contract to be up, and then it's gonna fuck everything up all over again.
Yeah, when they're both making 15+ million.
Yeah, thanks, Austin.
That's fine, whatever.
All right, that's episode 241, Pacific Division Preview. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the YouTube channel. DraftKings promo code THPN. Social media at WCB Podcast, WCBpodcast.com. Yeah, see you on the next one.
Fun fact: Reese Johnson, the dog, and the guy have the same birthday.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just kidding. How funny would that be?
I was going to say, Jesus.
What if
Christ.
Tyler and Tyler have the same birthday, and then Taylor and Taylor have the same birthday, and they're all just like, what if it just got that deep?
All right, we'll see you next one.
Love you, boys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.